Let's review our order of operations for simplifying expressions. So first thing we want to take care of are parentheses. So any sort of grouping symbols, we want to look inside of that grouping and simplify that down. Then we want to look for any exponential expressions, so simplifying our exponents. Then we'll look for multiplication division, and that will carry out left to right. Sorry, the typo, wrong typo, right. There we go. And then our last piece is addition, subtraction, also carrying that out left to right. So for order of operations, we use the phrase PEMDAS. So we go parentheses, exponent, and then even though we say M, then D, really they're at the same time. So it's like multiplication and division. We're looking at those at the same time. Same thing for addition, subtraction. So we'll look at some examples where sometimes with this shortened phrase, it seems like you should be doing multiplication before division, but that's not really correct. Instead, we want to think about it left to right. So let's go ahead with PEMDAS through these expressions. So first thing I can notice I have parentheses. So I want to take care of what's inside the parentheses first. What can also help with these is thinking about the separation of terms. So addition and subtraction separates terms. So if I wanted to visualize the terms in this expression, I have the 5, then I have my addition symbol. Then I don't actually use a subtraction inside the parentheses because that's kind of contained, but I have the second addition symbol outside of the parentheses. So that's all a single term, and this is a single term. So what we want to do is, in this case, we have 3 terms. So we want to simplify each of those terms first. So I'm going to simplify with the 8 minus 2. So this will be 5 plus 2, and then in parentheses, 8 minus 2 is 6, and then plus 4. Then what I can notice is with these parentheses, this is really multiplication. So I'm going to simplify this 2 times 6 next. So I still have 5 plus 12 plus 4. So now I have this string of addition, and with that I go left to right. So that means I'm going to add these first 2 pieces together. So 5 plus 12 is 17, and then plus 4, and then that'll be 21. With simplifying expressions where it's all just numerical values, we don't have any variables involved, you can check your answer. This is our Desmos scientific calculator. This is what I'll be using for examples. And what's nice about it is it has a lot of formatting within it. Then it makes it so that you can type it in just as it appears on your paper. So I'm going to do 5 plus 2 parentheses 8 minus 2 and then plus 4. And there's my 21. So you can plug it all in and make sure you get the same answer out. It just doesn't show the steps for solving. Okay, so our next example here. So there's no parentheses, but I have this exponential piece right here. Notice with this one, it's all just one term since there isn't any addition, subtraction. So what we're going to be doing is really just simplifying this whole thing all together. So we're going to start with the exponent. So I have 25 divided by, and then 5 squared is 25, and then times 2. Now this is the case that I wanted to point out because here we have this string of division and multiplication, and sometimes students think that they have to do the multiplication first, but we actually don't want to do that. That would give us an incorrect answer. Instead, we want to think of multiplication, division. They really accomplish the same thing, just like addition, subtraction. So with that, one doesn't have priority over the other. So instead, we're going to go left to right. So like reading across like a sentence, we're going to simplify that division first. So 25 divided by 25 is 1. And then that's multiplying with 2, and then multiplying those 2 values together, 2. If we wanted to check our answer, you can type in 25 divided by, this puts it in the denominator here, but we'd have our 5 squared. And then it's at the very end that we go times 2. And there's our value of 2. All right. Let's see, for this next one. So if it helps, you can think about separation of terms. So I have 20 and then addition, 4, and then subtraction, that would separate a term. And then I have this string of multiplication division. So I don't need to do anything to that 20, don't need to do anything to that 4, but I need to simplify this last term. So I'm going to start with exponent. So I still have 20 plus 4, and then minus 4 squared is 16, divided by 2 times 4. Now this will be the same as what we encountered in that last example, that I want to take care of this division first. So this is 20 plus 4, and then 16 divided by 2, or you can think of that as negative 16 divided by 2 is a minus 8, and then times 4. And I still need to simplify that multiplication there, so 20 plus 4 minus 32. And now it's all addition, subtraction, so we're going to go left to right. So 20 plus 4 is 24, and then minus 32, and then that'll be a negative 8. All right, one more example here. So what we have here are 2 layers of parentheses. That's where we're seeing it's kind of big brackets. And within those brackets, we have this second set of parentheses. And with parentheses, in terms of priority, you want to work from the inside out. So what that means is that we want to focus on simplifying this 23 minus 3 cubed first. So I'm going to ignore everything else for right now. So I'm just going to copy that down, keep that 9 minus, and then in those parentheses, I have 23 minus, and I need to take care of that exponent. So 3 cubed is 27. And then I'm going to simplify those parentheses there. So I'm going to keep everything else the same. And I'll have a 9 minus 23 minus 27 will be a negative 4. And now everything in those inner parentheses is simplified, so I need to simplify these kind of outer parentheses. So I have negative 4 squared minus 5, and in there it'll be the equivalent of 9 plus 4. So what we'll have in those parentheses is a 13. And now what I could do is my parentheses are all simplified. If I visualize my terms here, I have these 2 terms. I need to simplify my exponent here. Notice I don't have parentheses. If this was negative 4 squared, where the negative 4 is in parentheses, it would be a positive 16. But when the negative's on the outside like this, the negative just stays there. And then 4 squared would be 16. So be sure to pay attention when we have exponents, whether or not the negative is in parentheses or not. So negative 5 times 13 will be a negative 65. And then negative 16 minus 65, negative 81. With these, I know I showed a lot of steps, and at this point, order of operations should be something you're familiar with, so you don't always need to show this amount of steps. In lecture videos, I try to show as much detail as I can so you can follow along easily without skipping too many steps. But in terms of write-ups and things, show the steps that help you get to the final answer, but it might not be as many steps as I'm showing in the videos. So that's our order of operations.